Good afternoon and welcome to M.M.E. I'm your host Blind Prime and I'm bringing you something special today. We are talking about the Veritech Fighter from Robotech. The Veritech Fighter from Macross. The Skyfire from Generation 1 Transformers. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. It's funny because this toy gets around. This toy definitely gets around. So, little history on this guy before we go into any further. Back in the 80s, this guy from Hasbro went over to Tokyo to a toy show in Japan, and he found some Transformers, where he got Optimus Prime and Megatron. He didn't like Megatron's brothers, but he got Megatron and a few others. And then he came across the Macross station. And he was just in a transforming toy buying mood. And that was the toy show where apparently Japan was in a transforming toy making mood. Because that was the toy show. They just had all the transformable toys. And that guy from Hasbro, he just was like, I don't even care. I don't know what this is, but it moves from one thing to another thing. I think this is cool. And he just got them all. He was like Ash Ketchum. He had to catch all the transforming toys that were available at that toy show, and this happened to be one of them, and he got the American license to distribute this under the Transformers brand. Well, that was a problem, because Macross was working with some people to make Robotech, and Robotech was going to be the American version of Macross, and it was going to sell, needed its toys. It needed its transforming toy. And they already had plans. This thing was going to be recolored so many different ways. It was just going to work out well. Right now, this is the... oh man, I forgot the hero's name. But this is his, with the coloration, if I remember right. This was his Veritech before he took over Skull Squadron. So, this thing's just... wow. And the story behind it's just wow. This is a really nice toy for the 80s. Like, this is top quality stuff. This goes way beyond what most of the Transformers at the time did. This guy is different. He is very different, and the guy from Hasbro may not have understood what he was doing when he got it. Like, he didn't really understand what was going to happen in the future there, that they actually sniped an entire market out from somebody else. He was just in a transforming toy buying fianza. He was like a whirling dervish of buying transforming toys at that toy show. Everything had to get purchased, including this guy. So that's a little backstory on this. This ended up creating some lawsuits for Hasbro, and it gave them no end of strife. They ended up, canceling Skyfire entirely in the show and renaming him into Jetfire later on. And I think it was was his first back appearance in Robots in Disguise as Jetfire, or was it Armada that he showed up as Jetfire? I can't remember which one, but that was whenever he finally came back, but he was no longer Skyfire, like this guy is Skyfire. He was now Jetfire. So that's just a little, I figured I'd share that with you. You want more details on it, you can find plenty of YouTubers who've gone way more detailed than me. I just wanted to give you the Cliff Notes version and give you that image of a Hasbro executive being a whirling dervish in the center of a toy convention, just flying and swinging all over the place, yanking transforming toys off of all sorts of booths and putting them in a bag. You're mine, your Hasbro property, yes. Anyway, so let's talk a little review about this and why I think even to this very day, any giant mecha fan should actually own this one. This even though it's from the 80s, this is a must-have Transformer, in my opinion, or a must-have Veritech Fighter. I mean, it's my only Veritech Fighter. I really want some better Veritech Fighters. Who else is upset that the whole Shadow Chronicles thing did not succeed with Robotech? I wanted finally an end to that story, And we were so close to it. It ended up everything fell through. So let's talk articulation. Ratchets. This guy's got so many ratchets. His shoulder can ratchet 360 degrees. It can actually move up. and it can bend at the elbow, and it has wrist rotation. The hand doesn't rotate. So far, this thing's arm has the same amount of articulation as most modern day Transformers. Just boom, right there. One arm, all the articulation, the majority of it. The arm only pulls a 90, but then again, a few things like Ironworks only pull a 90, so that works. The head is on a ball joint. It can look all over the place. Look at that head going all over the place. Looking around, left, right, looking up, looking down. And it doesn't look down too far, but it looks up pretty good. And it's just so tight. And this elbow is so freaking tight, even to this very day. You got to use 2 hands to bend the left hand elbow to make it happen. I think that's pretty neat. There is no sort of articulation in the waist, so modern day Transformers definitely have him in that. And there is no side kick. He has solid legs. They move forwards and they move backwards at the thigh. And so he's got that in common with a lot of things. And it's a ratchet. Ooh, it's a good ratchet. It's a really good ratchet. This toy is older than me, and that ratchet is still excellent. Still excellent. Good. Listen, if any of the Japanese creators of this particular toy ever watch my video, I want you to know that you did a good job, and this is an amazing piece of engineering. So, good for you, and I appreciate you. Even like 40 years after this thing was released, it's still an excellent toy. So, good job there, engineers from Japan. Y'all blow my mind. So the knee for this guy is only at a 90, but it's a single L joint, but it's also a ratchet. Just so many ratchets. And his feet collapse in on themselves for transformation, and they do not do any side to side. So his feet do have kind of a general. It's nice to have the moving legs, but you can't really do anything with them. Sometimes I wonder about the toy lines that were planned for Robotech. Like, did they have like a special edition Veritech Fighter plan that had an entire outfit that you could put on it? For that one scene where Max Sterling uses his Veritech Fighter and disguises it as one of the Zendrazi. Is it Zendrazi? I can't exactly remember the name, but I think it's just I think about those things sometimes. Like they would have definitely released one of these in blue with an entire pants and a overcoat. So let's talk about how this thing feels. Like, it's got a cockpit that goes down the center of the entire ship, or the robot, and it comes down just below just below where the crotch would be. And that's why you can't turn him left or right. Is not really much detail there, but you do have this blast shield thing that kind of closes over the cockpit. There is a bit of the cockpit still visible down there. I think that there actually was something in the show. There was something that came up, or this thing came down entirely. I can't exactly remember. But at the top here, we have the Veritech head, and it's a simple head. You got a very squarish kind of head. There's no sort of detail for any mouth or anything like that. Just a bar of light, just these eyes there. And it's got these little vents on either side of its head, which are actually its machine guns in fighter mode. So he's, if he gets mad, he can just like spit fire upwards if he wants. There is, I'm seeing if there's any detail over here for something that happened in the show, but I don't think there is. No, they didn't really do any of the specific details on this stuff. The arms are pretty basic. They are basic as all get out arms. That's there's not any special detail here. You get a big bulky forearm. You get a nice feeling shoulder. There's some screw holes in the back. We turn around. He's got a backpack that isn't too bad. This backpack's also like you can maneuver it around a bit. It's not. You can like open the wings on the back up here like this, and then you can fold that piece down if you want, and close the wings back up to give him a different type of look. But mainly that piece is folded up on his back, and then the wings are collapsed inwards so that they are next to each other like a little cape, and then that just sits. It's supposed to clip into place, but this piece is actually very, very It's really old, so it doesn't like to do what it's supposed to do. It's okay though. Maybe no. Anyway, so that piece just kind of hangs out there, but the backpack here is very minimalistic, and it's not too bad. I think it's really fun. The now for the sides of the jet up here around his head, we've got these yeah, it's not much detail there at all. So come down here to the legs, we've got the vent intakes for the jet mode that make up the thigh area, and then it comes down to some pretty obvious, big knees, and all steel down here. Well, not that part, but because that's actually the thigh connection there at the top, you can feel, and then you come down and you can find his knees, where you find the metal that's in this guy, which is in the bottoms of his legs, which really help out with his stability. I really like it whenever any sort of toy, if they're going to add die cast, they put it in the legs, and that does add the necessary strength to everything else. There's also die cast up here around the head, but we'll talk about that soon. So let's go ahead and transform him into what's known as Guardian mode. Actually, we'll just transform him into Jet mode, and then we'll achieve Guardian mode through Jet mode. It's easier to go that way, if I remember right. So let's see. Let's go ahead and break off the back section. And one of his arms is, of course, immediately going to get floppy. Both of his arms are going to get floppy because they just... they like to hurt my feelings. Stupid arms. Let's go ahead and open the wings. Maybe that'll make it easier. It's been a little while since I've transformed this guy. I forgot how floppy those arms got whenever you did this. Okay. So, let's go ahead and... arms? Okay. So, arms are there and there. Right, let's go ahead and close the hands in. Just show the hands each. The one that has the gun hound in it is actually a little looser than the other one. And then these arms just kind of fold, and these are really, really old, stiff joints in here. Well, not stiff, they're really loose, but they're really old. So, being as careful as I can with this guy. Let's turn that on. There we go. They even now in there? Yeah, they are. Cool. Okay. Now, let's figure out what we're going to do with his head. Yep, there it is. Okay, cool. So open that panel behind the head that's on the back, and the head's just going to roll in, and then we can close that panel up. Now, go ahead and straighten that top out and slide this piece down, and then we're going to go ahead and rotate. Come on. There it goes. Rotate one leg, and just get that in there. Come on now. Get in there, you two arms. You're in the center. There you go. Now, leg's going to come down on either side of you. There's leg number one. All right. Now, let's get leg number two. I'm doing this very carefully because this thing is older than me. So, I'm not as aggressive with it as I am with the modern day stuff. I know the modern day stuff can handle some aggression, but this guy can not. Something is getting in the way of that piece going down all the way. Let's open that wing up. There it goes. You good? Yeah. It was just a little sticky. Yeah, you're just a little sticky right there. All right. That piece is in. That piece is in. Let's go ahead and close up the feet. Make sure those two arm pieces are in there as far as possible. I'm going to rotate the head around. Not really. You don't really do anything with this except move those ear pieces forwards to give them the guns, like I said earlier. And now we can flip them around. I think, and I'm not sure on this, but I think he's supposed to have landing gear. But I can never get it out. If it exists, it would be up here. And, that's interesting. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. You just got to figure out how to open it. How did I get this landing gear out? Let's see. Landing gear, your spring-loaded landing gear. How do we initiate the spring? Ah, there it is. All right, cool. That means that that's a button. That's a button. Ow, ow. I hurt myself multiple times there. Okay, look at that. Look at that spring-loaded landing gear. And super squeaky wheels. Ooh. This guy needs some 3-in-1. So you open the wings up. There's nothing that really is supposed to snap this guy together. He just kind of rests together. So we open up these back piece that was on his back, and we make sure that those pieces are leveled out, and he'll just kind of rest on his wheels. Yeah. The negatives on this jet mode are that the center area isn't really held in place. Gravity's holding all this stuff together. They didn't really come up with any way to you know, to do the snappy things that they do these days. This is at the beginning. They figured out how to transform it, but not how to snap it. But this is steel. So, being made of metal, and most likely ferrous metal, there are some gaps in this top of the plane, this plastic piece that moves up and down. There are some gaps on the corners that overlap the metal that you could hot glue a small neodymium magnet into, and then whenever you transform this guy, this part will snap into place over those pieces, and you won't have the floppiness. But this is a nice little jet. I like the spring-loaded landing gear. This piece on its back that opens. Too bad the cockpit doesn't open, but you know what? We're getting a lot for something in the 80s, so it's okay that the cockpit doesn't open. The wings go out pretty far. You can almost, I can imagine the Macross symbols on the wings. This guy's just totally Veritech. It's an excellent little fighter jet. I love it. I like how just it works. It works out so well. And I wonder, like, what would have the Toy America been like if Hasbro's executive hadn't picked this guy up? How would have it happened? Because this would have been recolored as often as the Seekers are recolored. There were so many different colors and variations. You had the skull version, the blue version, the yellow version, the black version. I don't know if there was a white version, but there were plenty of red and black. You know, there was red and black and blue and red. There were all sorts of colors for this. They would have just flooded the market in the 80s with Veritech fighters. There would have been so many Veritech fighters, you wouldn't have been able to keep count of them all. Kind of like there's just that many Seekers, and this would have been one of those beloved toys, but since they only made one character out of it, it didn't stay on the shelves as often as it should have, and it didn't have as many variations as it should have. There were even like super armors for this to add to. You're supposed to add super armor to it in the show, and there's other types of armor that got added to it to make it different, and there's even other different Veritech fighters that are slightly changed, like one, instead of having 4 ears, has like 2 or none, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of really interesting things they could have done if Macross had kept the brands for, you know, the rights for this toy in America. But then again, we would have missed out on Skyfire. So let's go ahead and transform him into my favorite mode ever, Guardian mode. So go ahead and put all of the little wheels back in there. Don't you do that. All right. Be careful with putting the wheels back that you don't accidentally break the little door, because there's a little door and a little wheel. So we're going to close the wheel first, snap it into place, and then we're going to close the little door. The person that owned this before me didn't follow that rule, and that's why I don't have a little door on the nose area. It's just a big open area right there, where there could have been a door, but somebody didn't pay attention to the rules. But now, that's what happens when you get a used toy. So let's make him into the best mode. Okay, the best mode is the easiest to get into. So what you're going to do is you're just going to move these arms out. Okay, so you're going to first tilt these guys each at the elbow, at the thigh, so it's like he's almost standing, and then we're going to pull out these arms. Let's see if we can pull these arms out. There it is. Right, we gotta actually pull this piece up to get the hand. Don't. Yeah. So let's do that real quick. There it goes. And snap that spot. And pull the arm. Come on. Come on, arm. There it goes. Yay, arms pulled out. Now we're gonna snap that back in. Yeah. Get that moved. Great. There it goes. Put it down. Come on. There it goes. Yay. Alright. First part transformed. Next part. Move this kick that up just a bit. Move this arm. Come on, arm. Just up. There it goes. There you go. Good arm, good arm. Now we're going to kick that back down. That thigh area, lock it into place. Move that arm around. Come on, there it goes. Kick back into place, lock down. Yay! Okay. Now, we're going to take these wings and we're going to fold them into each other. The right wing first, then the left wing, and then that folds down on top. And this piece will sit. So now what we do is we're chicken legging this. And that means we're bending the knees backwards, but it's okay because we can. And there we go. We have got Guardian mode. Now, Guardian mode is my favorite mode. Oh, maybe I forgot to bring that arm around. And the hands need to come out. Here we go. Hand and hand. Now, what is a Guardian mode? They never showed this in the Transformers show, you may say. And yes, you're right. They never did because they didn't really have the rights to Guardian mode. Guardian mode is when it's basically all of the plane and all of the robot added together. So think of the speed and the maneuverability of a plane, but also the exceptional ability to switch things up that a robot has. So like in the show, Guardian mode, you're sitting there. This is mainly used for fighting off mini rockets or a massive attack from a lot more opponents. For some reason, this is this stuff right here at the top that's in the backpack. That's all missile pods, and they just shoot out all over the place. And he's got a gun in one hand and he uses it to fire all over the place. But at the same time, he can kick his legs up and speed, and then he can kick them forwards and immediately stop what he's doing. He can come to a dead stop in space very quickly. It's not fun on the pilot, but they do have some things that help the pilot there. But yeah, no, it can come to a dead stop, and then it can just spin, and it can rotate around and shoot things upside down, and then spin again, and then it's just, this is the ultimate aircraft fighter, okay? You got nothing on, no aircraft fighter has anything on this. This is one of the most uniquely designed aircraft, mecha fighters that I'd ever come across. The fact that if you've ever played one of their games, I know there was a PS2 one that it really insinuated the fact that transforming into a mech in the middle of aerial combat changes the game entirely, because you could just you can change the rules of physics. You change into a robot and suddenly you're no longer aerodynamic, so you're not moving in the same direction you were, and you can just quickly spin yourself around and then transform back into a fighter and shoot off towards the things that are chasing you. And it was just wild. Being able to do that, the fact that this mode even exists, this is just, the Guardian mode is so much better than a mech because of its versatility in combat. It's not as sturdy as a mech, that's for sure. It won't be able to withstand too many direct hits because it's a little weird looking, and it definitely is a bit fragile, but don't get hit and you'll be okay. This thing is a crazy powerful vehicle, and it's just a lot of fun. Guardian mode, by far best mode ever made for a mech, at least in my opinion. And if you haven't watched the show Robotech, watch Robotech and then watch Macross, or watch Macross and then Robotech and see what's different, and then watch the second season of Robotech, and then go on to find Southern Cross anime and watch that and see what they did differently. And then the third anime, like the weird alien invasion stuff, I don't even know what anime they got that from, but that one had motorcycles that transform, which is pretty cool. I would love to have a 1/12 scale one of those, a 1/12 scale motorcycle that transforms. That'd be neat, because then we could you could put one of your action figures in it and have a battle armor or something. But I've talked long enough today on this really fun and unique toy from the 80s. It's a blast from the past. Thank you so much for watching, and like I said, keep tuned into my channel. This week we're going to be covering Kingdom Rhinox, and at the end of this week we're going to be covering the next letter in the alphabet. I believe it's K, so tune in then. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye-bye for now.